All right, everyone. Welcome to today's AMA. I hope everyone's having a good weekend. For those of you that are living in the future, well, it's already Monday for you. But for the rest of us, hope everyone's having a great Sunday. We have a few different things that I guess that we can cover, but mainly the point of today's AMA is just to pretty much give a status report across the board for Volt Finance, the different things we're working on publicly, as well as allow for a lot of questions. And because I know a lot of people are anticipating some of the products we have coming out, so we want to make sure that we answer whatever questions you have that we can answer for you. So let's go ahead and get started. So um, I guess order of business. We Since our last AMA overall here in the community of finance, and Telegram. We're going to have a meeting here very shortly, probably Monday or Tuesday, between the core team. And there's a couple things we're looking to jam out. We're going to look at Pulse, kind of do a systems check, make sure everybody feels comfortable on the core team with exactly where we're at. One of the conversations I want to talk about too is that we start having our AMAs for our community on Twitter. Reason being is because whenever we're on Twitter, whenever we're in one of those rooms, we can see when other people are in those AMAs or in those Twitter spaces. It gives people the opportunity to pop in, look around, see what we're doing. We can welcome them in while we're having an AMA. Just kind of opens up some opportunity for people who want to just kind of check us out, see what's going on. A little bit more exposure possibly. So that's something we're going to talk about as a core team also. I know some of you guys don't exactly like Twitter, but that's one of the things that I've been thinking about, and we're gonna talk about as a team. First order of business, other than that, is products and where we're at with our price and kind of what's going on with Vault Finance as a company. As a company, we've only been around since late September. We are really we're really moving as far as the things that we're making. A lot's happened. We've accomplished a lot since late September, believe it or not. Besides just the launch pad and the exchange, we have Pulse coming out. We have Sifter. There's debit card, cross chain. We're starting to dip our toes into the area heading towards profiteering off of debt, insurance, as well as wealth management, security. There's quite a few areas that we're kind of extending into. So a lot going on behind the curtain. It's I guess also too, since our last one, we've brought on our chief strategy officer, Philip. Um, he's a asset to the team. He's someone that we felt was going to be just great for the team because some of the areas that we're reaching into, he has some expertise in, and he brings a lot to the table in those areas. And so, as we move forward, the last AMA I did, somebody asked a question about growing our team and how we go about that, growing our team. And so, that growing our team isn't something we do all up front. It grows kind of organically as we have needs, as we grow into new areas. So it makes sense that as Vault Finance expands, we have to expand our technical abilities and know-how. And so we bring on other people who know those specific areas we're looking to get into. That way we've got some real conversation between the core team so we can set strategy of what we're doing. So we're real happy to have Phil. He's a good guy. So we're happy to have him. We're definitely gonna put him to work. One of the things that we've been working on that everybody is waiting for is Pulse, Novation Pulse. Before we get to that, let's talk about the rest of Novation. So let's start with the Launchpad. Launchpad's been around since day one. There's been quite a few that have tried to launch off of our Launchpad, some successful, some not. All the things that we've done ourselves, we've launched off our own Launchpad, and different things like that, Pulse and all of those. For Volt Finance, those were successful. For a couple of the others, those were successful. For some, they were not successful. And I want to address, what we do as a launch pad, so that, everyone can understand. Because when somebody comes on our launch pad, we want them to succeed. We set them up for success. Ultimately, though, it is not Volt Finance's responsibility to collect the dollars they need in their pre-sale that they're looking to raise in their seed funding for their company. Um, if I had to do that, I would have to just jam my hand up them and work them like a puppet. And that's just not my job. That's not what they want. That's not what anyone wants. Maybe that might be what the investor wants, but ultimately, our job is to provide a safe, with the Launchpad, to provide a safe place where investors and projects can come and do business. And that's the business of pre-sale, and the business of getting investors and doing those funding. That is our sole responsibility. We're not responsible for forcing people to have to come to market and hit their hard cap or anything. Now, our team does give recommendations. We give recommendations of what the hard cap should be, soft cap, what we think they're able to do. I know personally, through talking to some of the CEOs, I give them some ideas of, hey, maybe don't roll this out up front, maybe push that back, maybe focus more on this angle or that angle, different things. But ultimately, it's their job to pick and choose how they come to market, set their strategy, and things like that. And I just lend my opinion and references. Just being a plug to them for legitimate people in the space that they can do marketing with, or different things that they need to do to come to market. So um, between that, the market has been slow. We've seen some quality projects that launch with us. They're not able to hit their hard cap. They go to GenPad, they go to Pink Sale, and they're still not able to hit their hard cap. So at that point, it's one of those things that I feel like it's not an issue of novation and exposure, because we definitely try to put their names out there and use kind of our platform to help them get some people some awareness of them coming to market. But in the end, it is their responsibility. So I know quite a few, when they see the launch pad go, and they're watching to see what happens, and they end up closing and they don't hit their soft cap. First thing as well, the launch pad didn't do this or the launch pad didn't do that. And I just want to set straight the conversation that I have with these projects up front, with our investors in our community. That way our community kind of understands whose responsibility is what when it comes to orchestrating a pre-sale and stuff. Same thing with us. We launched on our own launch pad. Novation didn't do us any favors. We had to go out, pound the streets, and put our name out there. And you guys were a part of that as the community when you were there from day one. I know you guys were out there sending tweets and putting, helping to get it off the ground too. So it takes a lot to come to market, and especially in this type of economy that we're in this weird kind of climate with world economics. But in the end, it's up to the projects to make sure that they have everything they need to come to market. And that's not just landing on the right launch pad, but that's having the right numbers, having the right liquidity they plan on putting, the right docs, incorporation, KYCs, audits, showing up with products, being able to not just have products, but explain what they're doing. And a simple point A to point B, how are you gonna make me money? Things like that. So as far as the launchpad goes, we're still working on that. We're still continuing to try to grow it. One of the things down the line we'd like to do is to have kind of a cross chain type of launchpad setup. That's not one of our primary goals at the moment, though, because obviously there's a lot of bigger things on there, and our launchpad is really an accessory piece for us. It's not a primary revenue source for us. So moving on to the exchange, the DEX is doing pretty well. I'm having conversations behind the scenes with centralized exchanges. regarding working together with our DEX. Obviously, as you guys know, centralized exchanges are hurting. So this is kind of the perfect opportunity to kind of liaise on the neighborhood's behalf and tell them, hey, here's an opportunity for you guys to bring money in without increasing your liability, and things like that. And of course, for Novation side, it puts a really big name partner, arm in arm with us, and helps to kind of bridge that gap between the centralized and decentralized realm, and also the customer base and user base that runs across that realm. So, it'd be a beautiful thing to place your liquidity on Novation and have exposure across some wallets, across multiple DEXs, and across a centralized exchange or two, just by placing one liquidity pool. I firmly believe that's the future. And I believe who accomplishes that is going to be the big dog on the block. So that's our chess play that we're trying to do. I'm working with them on that. Cellus and Universal Tokenomics are things that they can really tout as far as marketing on their centralized exchange, and how they're trying to champion some of that. So other than that, cross chain is being worked on. Again, we have a meeting to kind of finalize some of that, Monday or Tuesday. It might be Tuesday. I just got to make sure all the core team can be there for it. But mainly, we're going to make sure that Matt's where it needs to be with the cross chain. So keep an eye out for that. We'll let everybody know when we refresh, update, and that cross chain is up on there on the exchange section. One thing you'll notice is that whole setup is going to look a little bit different. I don't believe there's going to be a cross chain and on chain separated. I think you'll be able to have one place right there, and you can just do all of that trading. So you'll have Cellus and then anything else. We wanted to make it a little bit simpler, safer, and mainstream it a little bit more. And so I know people have been waiting for that cross chain. Those of you that had the opportunity to use it before we took it down and reconstructed it already know that the aggregator on it that helps choose the path on trading what you're trying to trade is the bomb. It is really good. It is you end up getting the cheapest prices and fees doing that. So that's going to be a big benefit. It's going to be major EVM chains. Bitcoin's not on there. That chain's not on there yet. I know some people were looking at Palm Chain, or which is going to become Max Chain or something like that. Those are discussions that we'll have with Neon and them when the time comes. But at the moment, those chains aren't on there yet either. So soon enough, though. So that's where we're at with cross chain. Debit card, we're going to circle back and talk again, have a talk with making sure that comes out. I feel it's important that the debit card, the cross chain, and Pulse are all available at the same time. Those are all the tools in the toolkit you're going to need to make money, I feel like, and do well, and to kind of keep it all right there on Novation, where you can handle your business. So we're working on that with the debit card. I think some of you have very specific questions about the debit card. So when we get to that section, I'll let you guys fire away, and I'll do my best to answer those. I think I've got a couple of the core team in here too. So I know they have been a part of some of those meetings that I haven't been. So they may have a couple little special pearls of know-how that I don't. Then that last piece is Pulse. I know a lot of people are excited about Pulse. Pulse has been a very, very, we'll say a very fun project. It's really challenged us as a team. I know it's challenged us as a community, because I know everybody has had to practice patience. This is something we were looking to have available end of January. Obviously, we've lived 3 lives since then and gone through a whole slew of adventures. But since I've kind of taken the reins and started to try to handle this and quarterback it specifically. There have been some things that have changed. For one, the way we're rolling out the strategy is we have two teams. Really, the same allocation that goes to the devs is going to go to the devs, but um, we're having Lee pretty much create a shunt that can choose how we divvy how much money to which team, which which strategy it goes through across these certain packages, across these different exchanges, these APIs. One of them is we're utilizing AI for signaling, forex, commodities, things like that. Watching pretty much the market plus signals, and using AI to pretty much see that better than we can to signal when some of these different types of trades should happen. It's going very, very well. And one of these teams is 28 people. So they are a big, big team. I mean, they're almost a football team. And then the other one's going to be, I believe they're like about eight. So there's a lot of people between these. What's great about pitting them against each other is that, and what's going to be great for the investors is that when we shunt more towards one strategy that is doing better than the other, not only does that encourage the other one to optimize and strengthen up their strategy so that they can increase how well they're doing, and they can win back some money their direction. But it really gives us the opportunity to go with whatever strategy is doing the best. And I don't think we'll ever do a set where we put 100% through one and 0 through the other, because there's different strategies. It's always good to have your eggs in different baskets, but an 80-20 or 50-50 or however we see fit based on how well the strategy is doing will be how we'll do that. It's actually a pretty genius way to do it, and it's really looking really good. One of our community members was asking what that return kind of looks like. I would say we're looking at about 20 to 40% monthly. I would say probably 30 to 40% monthly is where I think we'll land, but let's say 20 to 40% monthly. So that's still within the 0.5 to 2.5% realm. Obviously, with a little bit more time, we were able to really pump that up. So as we move forward, we'll continue to test out different strategies along with these teams that we have set up to be able to even if it's 0.1%, whatever we can do to turn up the notch and to get better outcomes or to cut costs, that as well too. We're across 4 different exchanges, MEXC, Bybit, Gate.io, and OKC. We're pursuing Binance. I've said a couple times in some of the past AMAs, Binance has been a real pain, but I think we've found the way forward. So we're working on that. We'll get that knocked out. Even without Binance at the moment, we're still going to kill it. So just fine. So but it'd be nice to have Binance. That's a big one with a lot of liquidity, Bitcoin and trading Binance based tokens. So it's good to have that. Someone voiced some concern about front running, and the possibility that when we're having people off ramp, or not off ramp, but when we're having people cash out in VFX tokens, if there's a potential that transactions could get front run. There's always that potential with any DEX. There always is. There's nothing really you can do to stop an initial front run. But once we identify them, right now we're at the size where we can identify them as they happen. And once that happens, we pretty much blackball them. So they get burned instantly if they try to do it again. So it's really kept out a lot of those problems out of our decks. But there's a potential with more money running through the decks, there could be more of those problems. As that moves forward, and if we see some more front running happen or across different tokens that are on our decks, different contracts, we have no problem putting out little bounty campaigns to hunt them down and to take that out. It's something that that Matt has built into as a protection for the launch pad, and those bots being able to snipe into there, as well as protections and monitoring we're trying to put in place for the exchange. So there's nothing you can do to really stop an initial one of those, but subsequent ones that try to jump in and attack someone and pretty much burn their hurt the investor by jumping in front of their trade. Those are things that we're aware of and we're trying to do our best to protect against. They kind of what went hand in hand with it as well too is I'm starting to see across different spaces that people are I guess glorifying sandwich trading across dexes and things, which although that's not terrible in general for an individual, sandwich trading pretty much, or front run bots pretty much target, essentially, in my viewpoint, they target innocent investors and give them the short end of the stick by front ending their trades. So, I think that's a moral and ethical thing that we have to stand up to at Vault Finance. It's not something that I think Vault Finance can get behind. You individually and your trading portfolios, your trading strategies, if that's something you guys want to pursue, that's fine. But I don't foresee that type of trading is going to be something that'll be a long-term solution or a long-term platform. Because when you damage other investors, protections have to be put in place, either by the ones running those dexes or exchanges, or by those that feel the need to come in and rescue people like government and stuff. So sandwich trading for us is not something that we would do on Pulse, uh, but it's something that I guess is available out there in other places, but it actually hurts the investors that it front runs. So I want to make sure as an educational piece that as you guys are looking around at different investment strategies and stuff, do a little bit of education, a little bit educating on sandwich bots, on front running, those types of things, what that consists of, and that way you can tell whether that's a moral, ethical issue for you individually or not. But for Vault Finance, our stance is that we can't, as a company, jump in and front run individual investors on dexes and pretty much, hang them out to dry like that. It's just not good business, and there's way too many ways to make good revenue than to do business that hurts individuals in this space. So that's just the way I see it. So other than that, with Pulse, things are going well. I know people want me to give them a date. I'm not going to give you guys a date just yet, but it's coming. It's coming really soon, guys. And I know I've been saying that for a while, but I've definitely said here more recently that based on how long it takes for people to onboard funds and things like that from their bank account, now's a good time to set those up, and to be ready, and family or anyone else you're going to include, make sure they're ready to go as well too. So um, other than that, Sifter's coming along fine. It's something that's being worked on in the background. You'll notice that we don't have really any marketing that's going on for it right now. We don't want to take away or water down or dilute Pulse coming to market or any of the marketing pushes that we're making on that. So you won't hear too much about Sifter yet until Pulse launches. But just know, as just a check on the checklist, so that you guys know what's going on with the company. It's being worked on behind the scenes. We're getting looks at the app itself, and just helping navigate little tweaks here and there that we want changed up. Different things as far as um, just user experience to make sure it kind of lines up with what we envision. And then from there, it'll be a matter of getting it on Google Play, which won't take long, and Apple Store, which will be a fun back and forth game. One of the things that we're doing to kind of posture and be prepared for not just some of the regulation or things that people may say or come to us about, but also third party companies who don't want to get in trouble, who are trying to do what's right as well too, like Apple, or some of these other ones, is we're going back to legal, and we're going to pursue opinion letter about us not being a security, as well as I guess, as far as that there's no registration, certification, or regulation regarding our exchange. There's no governing body that's anointed for that yet. So, those opinion letters, those types of letters kind of give a lawyer stamp of approval that we're not just walking around like cowboys shooting from the hip, but that we're actually trying to follow what legal advice there is there that's available while we're sitting in this gray area, kind of purgatory, waiting for what's happening exactly with the law, and the case law that's probably going to supersede what's out there right now. So other than that, Sifter's coming along really well. So we'll have that out obviously after Pulse. You'll start seeing marketing for it, and you'll see the full rollout of exactly everything that's included with it. Other than that, on my list of things here, I think that is pretty much it. Let me see. Do I have Ross, Mason, Philip, Lee, any of you guys or Matt have anything you guys want to add that maybe I haven't covered yet?
Hey guys, it's Phil. Something that I would love to, something that I would love to add, and especially being the newest member of the core team. For those of you guys that know me, I've been a day one investor involved. I'm a huge believer in what Chris and Ross and Mason and Lee and Matt have put together. I'm a huge believer in it. For those of you guys that don't know, my background, comes from Wall Street and corporate finance, specifically deal structure and capital formation, and a whole bunch of M&A stuff. My understanding of everything that Chris and the team was putting together with Pulse was a very basic understanding until I got to be part of the team and see the inner workings. And guys, I can guarantee you it's exponentially more and bigger than I ever thought and that I ever realized. It is complicated. It is bigger, it is deeper, and there are many more moving wheels and parts than I ever realized as an investor. So as frustrating as these timelines are, and from somebody that was just recently only an investor before I saw all this stuff, guys, I'm telling you now from somebody that walks on both sides of this, that this is truly potentially revolutionary, and there are so many moving parts. You really get to put your hat off to Chris and the team for coming up with this. I'm truly impressed, and I just wanted to throw that out there from an investor point of view, and now from a core team member point of view. Guys, I'm really blown away with what these guys are doing. So I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you saying that, Phil, because it's hard to explain how much work actually goes into it until you actually see the schematic of it behind the scenes, and everything come together. Just from, I mean, we're unfortunately investor is, or the user for the platform is only going to see the nice, simple front end that's smooth and it's going to be pretty intuitive and and make the money they're looking to make. But everything that goes on behind the scenes, behind that front end experience, is a lot. Everything from strategy to smart contracts to plugging the smart contracts to the strategy to the APIs and then the business with the centralized exchanges itself. It's a very big baby, but I think, well, it's not, I think, I know that it's going to be something that's going to be not just extremely beneficial for Vault Finance and really create a reward token that actually has some volume to it, has some umph to it, sustainable umph to it. But it's going to benefit. It's going to benefit bringing money from outside the neighborhood like this into our neighborhood is our cup's going to run. It's going to overflow it. We're going to see Vault Finance make a lot of revenue and profit of it. We're going to see individuals, investors in our neighborhood be able to do that. Other crypto companies be able to do that. I mean, we really tapped a new line that's going to lead to our neighborhood. So we're really excited about it. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you saying that because it is a lot of work, and it's very easy to be like, well, why don't you just plug it in, right? And there's so much work that goes into it, so much to take all the disciplines that it takes to do this, and people with experience and things like that to put something like this together so that a user doesn't have to know anything. They can just know how to put their money on it and collect their money. It takes a lot to be able to do that. It's a beautiful thing. It's a difficult thing, but it's going to be worth it.
Well, one of the key points on all of this um, is the long-term sustainability of it as well, right? It would be easy enough to put a couple of trading bots together and run something for a couple of months, but that's not what we're doing. And that's that's the difference in terms of my understanding as an investor 2 months ago and being a core team member this past month. The amount of work that's being put into this for sustainability for years is truly differentiating.
All right. Yeah, absolutely true. Did I miss anything? Phil, Mason, Lee, is there anything else I missed that might be on your guys' checklist?
I can't think of anything from my end. I think you've covered most of it, and yeah, I appreciate that chime in, Philip. That really speaks volume, and I think it's a good message, obviously, to the investors who have been waiting patiently for us to get Pulse out.
Okay, well, that's pretty much just off the top, going through some of these different things, checklist of what we have going on that I have. I'd like to open it up to everyone here in the AMA that might have a question. We can field them one at a time. If you are the shy type, feel free to type it into the chat, and we will identify it and get to it. But whoever wants to go first, go ahead, and we just be polite and take the opportunity, kind of pass the mic around and let everybody get a question in that they'd like.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chris. I'll pounce on that opportunity right now if you don't mind me saying so. I do have a question about you mentioned legalities, the legal team. So, trying to get yourself presented as though it's a security or not, you're not a security, rather. Is this affecting Pulse's release, in terms of legalities? Is this affecting the Pulse release, or are there other factors too that are affecting it?
No, really, with the opinion letters and things like that, that's just something that we are seeing start to develop because everything's in a gray area right now, and well, when I say our government, the United States government is really taking a swing at whoever they want over things that, make sense, don't make sense. The head guy is saying contradictory things. He says one thing when he's trying to talk down to cryptos and the space and the markets, but then he goes in front of Congress and says something different. So there's a lot of wishy-wash answers and gray area. I mean, that's just the way it is. So you've got these third-party companies that do business like, banks and insurance and maybe even other crypto exchanges. I know Binance does as well too when you want to list with them, list your token on their exchange. They want an opinion letter. They want something. They want something to kind of indemnify them from any sort of issues that may come up legally. That shows that at least a third party that's in the legal realm that deals in this type of stuff can give reasoning behind what you're doing not being a security. So it's really, it's not something that it's impairing us in any way, but it's something that I foresee looking forward, that until we get definitive answers, which I don't feel our government, when I say our government, the United States government, I don't feel the United States government is trying to give straightforward answers. They're relying on a 1940s test for today's environment, and that's about to be superseded by what we're going to see with Ripple and other cases, because the lawsuits are about to start flying back and forth, and the government's about to take on these other big boys too. And so I don't think they're going to win them. I don't think they're going to win all of them. They might win some of them, but until there's definitive lines drawn in the sand, there can't be really definitive rules. So what you do is you just try to posture yourself in the best position that you can. And so for one, we're looking to have legal opinion from somebody who deals with a lot of SEC-based issues and things like that, a lawyer. That will put us, that'll give us credibility in the way of, look, we sought legal advice. This is what they say. This is why we are not a security, blah, blah, blah. Of course, those things will be fortified with cases that come out and finish up, like Ripple and those ones. So that's the point of that. I can say 100% for sure, Binance, when you go to list your token, they say they want an opinion letter. They either want you to give them your SEC certification that you are a security, or they want a legal opinion as to why you're not one. And through a third party that we do business with, they were also asked the same thing through Apple. Apple asked the same thing of them. So I foresee that we could possibly be asked the same question when we bring Sifter as well to Apple. So I wanted to jump ahead of that, and that not being something that holds us back in any way. So that's where that is. It doesn't have to do particularly with Pulse or anything, but part of that opinion is going to be about our specific products, because whenever you make something like an exchange or Pulse or these different types of things, in a lot of the business space, if you're in the United States and you're incorporating in the United States, you're and your security, you're usually under their jurisdiction for that. They have certain slivers of jurisdiction that handle those types of things, but we're not in that jurisdiction and we're not in that specific space. So there's not an entity that governs that space. So part of that opinion letter isn't just that VFX isn't and Vault Finance isn't a security, but also that our products don't need a certification. They don't need to be certified by each country that investors in those countries use that product. Which is true until something comes forward, but that's, those are dominoes that fall after these first dominoes. So we're just posturing ourselves in the right way with that, and it's not holding up Pulse at all. Any other questions?
I was planning on biting, but I'm waiting to see if anyone else wants to take a turn.
I was gonna wait for you to go again.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Chris. Thanks for doing this. So I've done the math and I decided to invest more in VFX than Pulse. And I think for VFX to really gain value, it seems that we need a lot of money on the platform. And I know you've thrown out the number like 80 million before. And I'm just wondering what the strategy is to go out and kind of seek some of these investment capital hedge fund type investors to get that type of numbers on the platform.
Well, I don't want to have I want to have an even mix as far as where the funds come from. I want to have individual investors that want to benefit from it, but I also don't mind there being big money guys that come in as well too. I just don't want us to be overrun with the big money guys. That goes outside the scope. Although that's nice, and yes, it will fulfill Vault Finance's needs, and it will churn the volume. I would like to see a majority of the money that comes on this platform come from individuals, come from users. I know there's quite a few big money users, some whales that are sitting on the sidelines and they're watching. They're just watching before they buy into VFX, and they're watching before they get into Pulse. And they don't mind waiting till day one, and they don't mind trying to buy a VIP off of someone or something like that at a higher price. Their main concern is that they want to see the platform in action. So I'm not too concerned with money coming to the platform. The way we've structured it, it's a thing of beauty. It's going to produce the way we want it to produce. The safety, security is going to be there. We're seeking out the insurance for it. We're looking for not just not just to have the short-term answer in place, but a long-term answer in place. We're looking to back it with reserves. So we're doing things that other places that you might be involved with trading bots are not doing. And the reason why is because it falls into the overall new standard that we're going to set for how these crypto companies do business with the investors, and the expectations that the investors should have, not just of the companies themselves, and if a hack happens or anything like that, but also in the products that they make as well too. Safety within the whole ecosystem that you do business in, because that's really the standard that all of you investors should be screaming for. It should be unacceptable for you to get ripped off the way that people are getting hacked and rugged right now. Unacceptable. So that's where we're pioneering towards.
Okay, thanks. And so are you thinking that it's going to be insured on launch day, or is that something that's going to have to come later still? I'm sure that's a long process.
Well, there's a short term and a long term answer, and I'm going to leave it open for fairness and say that the short term could possibly bloom into a long term answer. I'm going to say it's possible. I'm not going to say it's probable, but I'm going to say it's possible, just to be fair to everyone involved. But the short-term answer is going to be one that will probably be within the first month of us launching. The long-term answer could take some months, because it means developing something that does not exist in this space. It's from scratch, newly birthed. So being done with top underwriters. So it's going to take time for something like that to take place for the long term. But when it's there, we're not looking for it to just cover just Pulse or just this or just that. We're looking for it to create a safety net behind all of Vault Finance. So
Okay, thanks. One of the thoughts too, and correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but going back to the front running thing when swapping from Vault to USDT or whatever, wouldn't tax prevent that basically? Having that 9% tax would make that not incentivized for front runners to do?
I'm not one. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. That's gonna take a strong answer from Matt, which I don't think he's in the room at the moment. But uh, what we have seen so far, I mean, first of all, with our Launchpad and our exchange and the way these bots work, because what I'm seeing is that products are being developed to pretty much do things that just a year ago were unacceptable. A year ago, nobody wanted sniping bots. Nobody was okay with that type of thing happening. Now you're seeing platforms that are paying subscriptions so that you can front run pre-sales or snipe bot pre-sales. Um, Same thing with front running trades and things like that. So those, when we built the Launchpad and the exchange, we built in protections. The Launchpad, I think, was an easier protection to do because you can't 100% stop front. You can't stop an initial front run on a DEX. Is what Matt has told me. But we have, when we get that address, wherever it gets front run from, we blackball that bot. Now I can't go into pure description of exactly what takes place when they get blackballed, but if they run it again, they'll not run it again ever. So we or if they try to do that with us, so we have not seen much of that happen at all, except for maybe a couple cases when we were running increased volume, like volume bot type things. But that was it, and we immediately took them and we blackballed them. So I don't think those things will end up being a problem for us. But if for some reason it does become a problem, it won't be hard for us to identify, and we'll cut them out.
Yeah, I agree. If if they're buying and then selling, they're paying, what is it, 60% tax total. So in order to be profitable to do that, they'd have to make over 60% profit, which is up for debate. Probably wouldn't happen very often. So I wouldn't be worried about that. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, no problem. And Lee, Lee or Mason, you might know the answer to this because I feel like Matt has said it. Is there a way for them to front run it without getting hit by the tax? For them to circumvent the tax?
No, I don't believe there's a way for them to front run without paying the taxes. So obviously the tax structure is going to limit their their desire to front run.
Okay. All right. Good stuff then. That might have been the reason why we've seen pretty much every case be with the volume bot we were doing, because that is meant to be an efficient trading for volume, and there's no tax or anything like that included. So that's probably why we had saw that a couple times with there, and then we pretty much pulled those weeds out as we saw them. Any other questions, guys? Or actually, I think there was one in the chat. Angela asks, will the debit card be tangible or virtual or both? It will be both. You can have multiple cards. The tangible card, I believe it's, you have to get KYC'd if you spend above, or if you want to place more money on it. And as far as being available when Pulse launches, I believe that's what we're aiming for. But I need to get with Matt, so I don't want to tell you guys exactly that, okay, that's done and it's tomorrow, and then that not be the case. So we're gonna have a team meeting, and that's where I get that information directly from them on exactly where it's at. And you're not shy and you're eating supper. So but okay, so hopefully that answers that question. Let me see if there's another one on there. Let's see. All the new people to crypto that I am talking to about Pulse ask, why does more money not always mean more profits in bot trading? Could you speak on that? Absolutely. It's very simple. You're trading, just think of liquidity with our token, just with our token. Just think of our token on our exchange, right? We have a few $100,000 in liquidity, market cap a few million. If somebody comes and drops $1 million, a buy of $1 million on Volt Finance token, what is that going to do? That's going to shoot the price through the roof, right? And our market cap to liquidity ratio is going to be severely diluted, and the next sell is going to be bigger than what it was before, and you're going to get some choppy movement until finally that settles and evens out. So applying that same type of simple scenario but to multiple millions of dollars on a centralized exchange that holds many millions of dollars of liquidity on these different pairs, you don't want to put yourself in a position where when you do a spot trade or something, a candle's moving a certain way, you do a buy and it pops the candle too much, or you shake the liquidity too much, and you get kind of an adverse effect of what you're trying to do. When you do those types of things and you have too much money and not enough liquidity to back it, pretty much you start getting a lot of big swings. Now, of course, comparatively, the amount of money we're going to have based on the liquidity that's on centralized exchanges, it's not going to be as crazy as if we were talking about the Volt Finance token, but still, it's those little nuances that change your ability to profit or lose money on a trade. And so you have to be cognizant of that, because you start shaking the boat too much and you could be the one that gets burned. So or gets, you're the one that gets stuck at the top and then people are selling, or vice versa or something. So that's one aspect to it. The other, so how can we onboard more money onto a centralized exchange and offset that problem? Well, we spread the money. So we take the money and we spread it between multiple centralized exchanges. That way, if let's say you had 50 million and you had it across 5 exchanges, you could put 10 million on each exchange, let's say. And that might not be that might not necessarily be a bad move to do, to kind of not have all your eggs in one basket, but the liquidity is not too much to where you're gonna be shaking the boat. But you end up reaching a point where there's only so many centralized exchanges with so much liquidity, and there's only so many different trading bot strategies you can run at the same time because of limits on liquidity. And so theoretically, it will plateau at a certain point. And at that point, you've got 2 choices. You either allow more money to onboard, which will then start to dilute how much money you return. Because if you look at it in terms of, let's say we have $100 million and we're trying to pull 1%, right? 1%, which is a great return for the day. That means I have to make $1 million in one day with these bots. That is a lot of money. So in order to do that, we're definitely going to have to be doing a lot of trading. A lot of things are going to have to be happening, and 1 million is a very hard number to do. So essentially, you reach a point where more money doesn't necessarily make you more money. You kind of plateau, and now you're splitting the same amount of money you're getting back in profits daily between more people, and the result of that is a lower return for everyone. So what that does is, I call it, it's diluting the return. It's diluting the interest return that you should be earning on the day. So we feel that in the range of somewhere between 50 and 80 million is when we're going to see that plateau. That's something that I'm going to monitor for. That's something I'm gonna watch because I don't want to see our returns get diluted. But let's say we're averaging 1.5% or 1.3%. and we're at 50 million. If I can raise it to 80 million and we average 1%, I have to weigh the costs, the pros and cons of that, because that could be something that's still very beneficial for the investor that's not involved with Vault Finance, but it could be something that could be a huge benefit for the investor that does own Vault Finance token and is an investor with our company. So those are things that I'll have to weigh and crunch those numbers when the time comes. But it's important to know just the general thing that more money on the platform is not necessarily a good thing. It could reduce the returns that people get, and we'll have to see by how much and at what point that happens, and all of those types of things.
Hey, Chris, I got a question and a comment at the same time.
Go ahead.
So, awesome, thank you. So, as far as the investors, like Chris from all the way down, we're all investors at one point in time. And I know Phil was lucky enough to see what Pulse is like, and a lot of us haven't been able to see what Pulse is like. And a lot of us come from different tokens and different CEOs and different, just different walks of life. So some might be excited, some might be, frustrated, some might be a little this or little that, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I do believe in the team. 100% I believe in Chris. When I met Chris, I was like, oh my God, he's exactly who he is in video chats as he is in person. Like literally, I trust him. And there's not a lot of people out there that I can say I trust. But if we were to see what's going on, we would probably be more at ease, in all honesty. But my question is, to Chris, how much money is left on Pulse from all the referrals? I mean, not refunds, and how much does each team get to play with at the end of the day?
So I believe Mason can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's 500. I believe there's 500,000 that's still sitting with the platform that people had originally put on it. And let me think. What was the second part you were saying?
How much does each team get to play with? How much does each team get? 20. I don't know, 500. I mean, not 500, 250, or how does that work? How do you split up the money with the teams?
So the schematic, the diagram of what we do is because there's not going to be any sort of time frame that you have to wait to get your funds back. You can pull the principal at any time. Because of all of that, we have to have a pool for withdrawals. That way you push the I want to withdraw my money button, and that money is there for you to withdraw. It doesn't go error, sorry. We got to make sure that there's money in the ATM for that. So a percentage goes there. The rest actually gets traded. We plan on trading. The rest is going to be traded. So utilizing those strategies. So one of the things that have been very difficult to build is and Lee is the one that's really leading the charge with this, is the communication between what's being traded on the centralized exchanges and the communication with what is in that withdrawal pool. We want to make sure that withdrawal pool stays funded. That way, anyone who withdraws, if there's quote unquote run on the bank and people run to grab their money, that money's going to be there. So there's code that monitors that communication so that money can be pulled off the centralized exchange if it has to, off of that wallet and back into the withdrawal if people want to pull their money. So I mean, that's how that part works. So minus what's already sitting in that pool, the rest is going to be traded. It's just a matter of shunting who's doing better If we send 70% to that way and 30% to the other, and then if the economic climate in crypto changes and the other one now starts performing better and they did some optimizations, then we can turn it the other direction and they can get a majority. So pretty much they make a percentage on every dollar that's made, a very small percentage on every dollar that's made. And so the more dollars that run through their strategy, the more money they can make. And so it's pretty much a competition. Whoever has the best strategy has more money running through it, they make more money. The one that's not making as much, you better bring your A game, tweak your strategy, change it up, apply it. You start pulling ahead in the lead, you start getting more of the money. So that's the way I've set it up. That way it's a friendly competition, but that's business. That's how it works.
You said they're going to get a certain percentage. When will they get paid? Once a day, once a week, once a month? How does it break down for them?
So it breaks down the way that it breaks down for everybody. At a certain point in the day, it pools the profits from the exchange wallet. The devs get their piece. The piece that goes to reserves goes there. The rest gets distributed accordingly to how it's supposed to be across the board to all the users. So when it hits your account, at that point, that's when you choose if you want to compound it or collect it. If you compound it, it will turn right back around and go back to trading.
Sorry about that. So they get paid every day?
Yes. Yep. They get paid every day. Pretty much once the profits happen, it gets broken up between how everybody does it.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
I have a question, or several questions now, but I didn't want to interrupt. I'm sorry for that brief gasp there. I was like, oh, wait, you've got you. The first question I really want to ask is, if you onboard more centralized exchanges, which would let you, I think, trade more, would that increase the threshold as far as Pulse is concerned, or would that be no difference?
I think theoretically it would increase it, but you start running into other theoreticals as well too, because as far as security goes and how secure these top exchanges are, minus FTX, because that one was kind of an inside, guy sticking his hand in the cookie jar problem. But as far as these other ones go, these top ones run a lot of volume. And as you go down into the lower tier ones, it's less and less volume, which means less liquidity, which means the pairs can't take as much of a huge buy and sell between them without shaking them up too much. So theoretically, yes, you can add more centralized exchanges, no problem, and do business across there. But as you go down the list, they start having less and less liquidity, less and less security, because they're not so much a foundational main one. What would take a Binance or a KuCoin or even a Gate.io or something like that to topple over is not the same as a CoinW or one of these guys are the 50th biggest centralized exchange. So I mean, where it's one of those things that as we go into it, we'll be able to see exactly what we can manage, what we can finesse to squeeze out some more room. But one thing that's for sure is that I put the cut it off button by doing the contracts, because if we do reach a point, I believe me, I don't want to cut contracts that aren't guaranteed renewed. I want those to continue on forever. But the fact of the matter is that one day when this number starts to get close to wherever that limit is, and I foresee that adding another exchange might be more of a liability than a help, we'll need to remove some of those contracts. And that's the reason why we have this whole contract set up as it is. So I have the cut button, the cut loss right there in place. As far as how much can be added, and before, we'll try to incentivize people to take profits for the overall good of the platform, the overall scheme of what's going on. But ultimately, that means an investor is going to have to listen to me when I say do this, do that, please. They're going to have to say yes. And all of us in this room know that while one might say yes, 20 will say no, because they want to keep compounding and keep making their money, which is fine. That's absolutely legal. But just know that, when those things come up, it's because we want some of the money we want you guys to take some of the profit, to take some of the pressure off the bots and off the exchanges. And if that doesn't manifest, then my only other option is to clip contracts that aren't secured. It's musical chairs. Those will have to remove, and that will make sure that when it comes off, that contract closes and that money doesn't come back on. So, that's the setup that we have. But you're right in theory that adding more centralized exchanges will give us more room, but there's not a quantifiable way for me to know exactly what the liability is of a Bitfinex versus a Gate.io. I just know that Gate.io has a lot more volume, a lot more liquidity, that they are a bigger exchange, therefore more than likely stronger. But there's no way for me to look at Bitfinex and go, hey, hand me your financials. Let me see if you guys are gonna plop over dead on me or not, or something like that. So I'm not sure how much further when we go down the list, we start to take on more of a liability than an actual benefit.
Makes a lot of sense. So touching on that same argument, you mentioned cutting or clipping contracts. Will this affect anyone that is Pulse Elite or Pulse VIP, or just the ones that aren't guaranteed renewals?
If it's guaranteed, it's guaranteed. And the reason why we're able to guarantee the number we're able to guarantee is because I know that if every one of those contracts were to max out, that we'd still be in a good position. But so the ones that have guaranteed contract renewals, those are guaranteed. Those are good. But I would not be too surprised if one day in the future, the only contracts that are running through Pulse are the guaranteed ones. I would not be surprised if one day in the future, if somebody told me that in the future it's only going to be the guaranteed contracts on there, I would not be surprised. Because I foresee people, when they use this platform, seeing that this is going to be a big deal. This is going to be something that's going to be a nice, consistent piece to their strategy. And they're not going to want to let those go, which I don't blame them, because it has the potential of being, like what Phil said, it can change lives. It can change the space. So that's something to just keep in mind right now before it launches, before it blows up through the roof, to just recognize what that strategy might be, and just, definitely mull that over.
That's interesting, and I do appreciate your answer on that one. My next question on this Pulse, because I have a lot of questions about Pulse. I'm so sorry, but you mentioned about splitting the money between the dev groups to play, rather the strategist groups between, I guess, VIP and normal. Um, Will the investors still get their normal possible gains evenly, or would it be? I guess what I'm trying to be careful about asking is, and I'm not trying to FUD, is will there be measures to make sure that one side isn't favored over the other?
Yes, there shouldn't, on their side, the strategies are the strategies, and the money runs through those strategies. So you shouldn't see a different outcome as far as I guess over the long run, as far as what those returns look like, it should be the same, because they're not going to know, they're not going to see the difference between, okay, well, this is the VIP group, so let's change the strategy real quick to help them. It's not going to be anything. It's not going to be anything like that. So really, it should even out. Although they may be on a separate system, you should be able to expect that with the same strategy, you should get pretty much the same return. If it's off by 0.05 or something like that, that's a possibility. But I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be sizable, where you see the VIPs getting a 2% return, and then you see the just normal Pulse getting a 0.7 or something like that. Nothing like that will happen.
Awesome. And I think finally, the last question I wanted to ask is concerning the front running bots. And I don't really expect a public answer. I would prefer a PM answer if possible, but unless this is recorded, which I think it is. But my question on this one is, would it not be possible to get a list of known front running bots and just permanently blacklist them?
That I have no problem answering. I don't have a problem answering any of the questions in our AMAs. I don't think the front run bots. I don't think there's like an acquired list where you can identify these are, there's warrants out for these people or something like that, for these contract addresses. And the thing is that some of them stick to certain places that they can do well on for themselves, do some damage. So we just haven't seen many come our direction. And it could be because all the tokens that we have on our exchange are rewards tokens. It could, I mean, we saw a few with the volume bot, because that had no tax or anything. It was just an efficient, it was just trading, just to trade and create volume. Had no net gain, no net loss, anything like that. But I don't anticipate we're going to end up having those kind of problems. But if for some reason we do, we'll take action on it. But I don't think there's a list, or there's anywhere where we can identify those people ahead of time, unless we start maybe monitoring trades on other exchanges, other dexes, and just start looking for front run things that happen, and then blacklisting them on our exchange just in case they come over to our exchange. I think that's a lot of that's just the juice isn't worth the squeeze on that. I don't think you're gonna it's kind of chasing a phantom. I don't think we're gonna be able to take care of it that way.
Maybe not, but any measure of prevention would help secure the platform a little bit more, in my honest opinion. If they're like some well-known ones, like I don't know, but any particularly well-known ones could at least get blocked, or just make it harder, or maybe just make it to where if it looks like it's starting to trade hostile or do something like that, and it would affect someone, I mean, what measures would be in place to protect the investor for all those first-time instances, especially if there turns out to be multiple first-time instances?
I just wanted to chime in here too. I don't know that Chris mentioned it earlier, but Matt is already working on some stuff for enhancements of Novation in the future, which will include basically making it a lot harder for front running bots. And like Chris mentioned, we're not seeing a lot of front running instances. I mean, there have been very, very few, and I hear what you're saying, Arn, but really these guys, the contract addresses change all the time. You don't really have one person taking the same bot and just moving around from exchange to exchange with different tokens and stuff. So that's one of the issues presented with what you're trying to say. But I just wanted to add that Matt is working on some enhancements and some upgrades to Novation to to make it even more secure than it already is, which it already is far more secure and advanced than the likes of PCS or Uniswap or anything like that. So anyway, just wanted to add that.
I appreciate that, Mason. And I'm not trying to give you all a hard time. It's just I'm anticipating with Pulse being a likely success, if it blows up like he just said it might, that would probably attract a lot of bad attention our way. So I'm just thinking futuristically and preemptively, if you will.
Absolutely appreciate the concern.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. It's better to be safe. So I mean, it's worth a conversation with the core team when we have our meeting. Matt and the security guys are going to be the ones to really, I guess, give us a full analysis of what that might look like, or what that opportunity might look like, and what, chasing it down to protect it might be like. So, I mean, although we haven't seen it, doesn't mean that it won't ever, that we won't ever see it, but it's worth a conversation. So I'll make sure we add that to a point of conversation for our core team when we have our meeting tomorrow or Tuesday.
Thank you very much. I just know that I feel like the reason we haven't been seeing it thus far is because we're kind of small fry right now, and I don't think overly too many people know a whole lot about us. We're kind of niche-ish, but once news of Pulse's success gets out, that's when everything changes, and that includes the bad attention. So I appreciate you acknowledging this concern and bringing it up to the meeting. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Hey, Chris, I was wondering, did you happen to hear Todd's remarks on, I think, it was some tokens, new look on taxes to avoid the SEC or something like that? I wasn't too sure. I couldn't make out the details, but are you looking into stuff like that as well?
Well, I mean, I didn't hear what he was talking about. I guess it was on the round table. So no, I haven't heard anything about new strategies that people are using for that.
Cool. There seem to be a few other questions in the chat. One of them is from Dan saying, can we get a contract for Pulse a little over 80 days for the people that bought pre-sale? Maybe a guaranteed contract year round, pretty please? LOL.
Well, I think what we have set up is 100 days for the VIPs. VIPs that become VIPs before launch day are going to get a normal VIP one round of the normal VIP contract to just hold them over till VIP comes out, which will be a week or two tops after the initial Pulse release, because there's not too much that has to change for us to make that happen. As far as normal Pulse contracts, the first contract is going to be 80 days. After that, every contract after that will be 60 days. Anyone who shows up day one, I guess who wasn't pre-sale, theirs are going to be 60 days. So the people who are in pre-sale, private sale, all of that, it'll be 80 days. Day one and moving forward will be 60 days. The companies, the businesses, those will be 60 days. And then the actual VIP will be 100 days, but they'll also get that 180-day normal Pulse one up front. That way they can get started day one like everyone else, and then choose to switch over to the VIP whenever they'd like.
And I think someone had another question here too. Jammy, what would be the max number of guaranteed renewed contracts if all non-guaranteed were to be cut?
So there are 100 Pulse Elite. There are 50 that are in support well, on top of the 100, there are 50 that are in support of Reward Miner to help grow that liquidity pool, regardless of what people feel is going on over there or this or that. The reason why we did that is, and we've talked about this in the past AMA, but the reason why it was important for us to do that is that we want to show people that we can with Pulse, that we could resurrect the project back from the dead. They had the liquidity breach, they lost their liquidity. They put together a small nest egg to try to rebuild it. Pulse is going to be that vessel that helps them get there. So that's going to be a nice, beautiful piece for Pulse. But a lot of the investors, I'll say many of the investors that are here in Vault Finance were in Reward Miner. There was a big crossover between the two, and so I really wanted to see those. And those investors have not come over to Vault Finance crying or complaining or anything. But I want to see them made whole as well too. I want to see that get restarted up. It'll be a great thing for those investors that are also our investors. That'll be a great show to our neighborhood of what we're doing, but it'll be a great show to the power of Pulse as well too. So there's 50 for that, and then there's 50 that are for certain we'll say they're strategically put in place. They're going to be certain ambassadors, influencers, certain people that we do business with as a company, things like that will help give us a better position, I guess, as far as doing business and stuff. So that's 200 spots plus the 100 from VIP. So if there are no other contracts, there will max only be 300.
Well, that's refreshing.
Yep. So I don't anticipate that that's something that will happen tomorrow. But I do think that there will come a day where it won't take us long to raise the amount. I mean, we're going to start off at the end of day one. There'll probably be $1 million on the platform. Within the first 3 to 5 days, the institutional guys will throw theirs on there. That's another 3. So I mean, I would say probably by the end of the first cycle, we'll have probably somewhere between 5 and 10 million. When you look at the interest put on there, or the interest earned that's going to be on there, it could be close to 10 conservatively, I think. That's the end of the first 60-day cycle. So it will only, as people unload and reload back on there, you're only going to see more and more go on there. The only way people are going to get on the platform is through referral, which means that people are going to have to talk to people about it. We're going to push our marketing. We're going to push our ambassadors. I'm going to go out on the road and hit every spot I can, make sure everybody in the crypto world knows about it. As well as some people are in the real world setting up, they're already got dates and set up like conference rooms and hotels and stuff to teach people about Pulse. And it's all under the umbrella of, it's just passive income, creating income in today's economy right now with people living paycheck to paycheck. So that's the angle. That's the what Pulse is going to bring. It can bring everyday people that are struggling, which I'm sure you look to the left, you look to the right, 2 out of 3 people are probably struggling, probably a higher percentage than that. So there's people out there that have a real need for it. So on top of the marketing and what we're doing, it's also going to be very beneficial for you community members, for you investors as well too, the other companies that you do business with, to whisper in their ear, throw it up there to them, because you can be the referral for a company. So if you bring in, let's say, Kyoto, or you bring in Safe Moon, or whoever you bring in, whatever they put to the platform, you referred them and you get that piece of that. So I think we're going to see investors be very happy, do what, start doing well with it. You're going to see them bring family and friends, even if they have to work it for them and help them set up their wallet and things like that. And then I think we're going to start seeing some people that aren't normally in this space, maybe not in Telegram talking, and see new people on Twitter and Telegram and in our normal little communities. But I think we're going to see more people jump on the platform. We're going to see more assets under management. And then as the investors do well and you hear those whispers, and those whispers become, loud cries across Twitter, crypto companies are going to take notice, and they're going to say, hey, we don't have a revenue source. We're here spinning our wheels, just trying to survive. I mean, all we have to do is come over here. These people are doing well. I mean, there's core team members from other big crypto companies in our area that are invested in Pulse. So they're going to see it for themselves, and you better believe they will turn around. It does not take very much IQ or intelligence to go, you know what, this does well for me personally. We should be applying this to our company because we don't have a revenue source, or this is something that can really help us. And you better believe that we will make them, they will have to have liquidity listed on Novation. So, there's a give and a take, and that's, and we're not all give. It's business. It has to be a mutual relationship. And so that is the business that we will do with those crypto companies. But if you're an investor that brings in a big fish like that, you get a piece of that. So the referrals are a very big piece of it. Word of mouth is a very big piece of it. And then our marketing and utilizing our chess pieces, our ambassadors, marketing, me pounding the streets, all of those things all play into the growth of Pulse. And quite honestly, with the way we're making it, I don't think it's going to take much. I don't want to say that it's going to propel itself magically, but I think it's a rock, it's a boulder that we're starting to roll downhill. And I think it's just going to be a monster, and people are going to know it's there.
Hey, Chris, do you see Vault Financing opening more contracts, stable contracts for people in the future? I know there's 300 right now, so do you see maybe another 100 or 200 that you guys maybe do for, open up to the public for those people that don't have one?
Well, mathematically, those things would not be able to happen unless I creatively find a new source to tap into where we're not jamming up, where we're not jammed up with liquidity, or I'm not having to reach into central exchange number, listed number 15 or number 20 or something like that to do business with them. We don't want to sacrifice safety, but if there, theoretically, if there is a if there is a safe and effective way for us to onboard more money and get return without diluting the overall return and without giving up safety, then yes, there is the potential for that. But it's going to take us pulling more rabbits out of our hats to be able to do that. So right now, I'm sure of what we're doing right now. But if something else presents itself, then that could change things. But as of right now, today, where I sit, there won't be any more guaranteed contracts. They're there, and they're tradable, and things like sellable, whatever. You can do what you want with them. The VIP ones will have a certificate with them, very similar to those of you that were involved with the initial private sale. That way, people know that people aren't trying to scam each other, because I see those things as being they're going to be worth a lot of money, I foresee. So I wanted to give a certificate of some sort with them, so that it could really lend itself to people doing some kind of scam with it. So I wanted to add some level of authenticity to it so that, there's no scamming going on or something like that. But well, from where I see, and I don't think we'll be adding more unless something big present itself where I feel like we have the oodles and oodles of room to expand without hurting the return.
I see two more questions on the chat, and one of them is from Craig asking, we can generate the link from Pulse when it launches, referring to like our wallet addresses. If we can link to our create a link to Pulse with our wallet addresses, would that be a thing?
I'm trying to look for that one that you're saying. Yes, your referral is your wallet address. So one of the things that we have been recommending to everyone is that the business that you do on Pulse have a secure wallet, a fresh, secure wallet. Take care of it. All your referrals are essentially your wallet address. So that's what you'll give to your referral, and your referral will put in that as who referred them, and they'll sign, and then they'll sign up, and they'll be able to use their wallet address to sign in. Now, what's important to note is that those referrals are not transferable. So if you sell your spot to someone else, it does not transfer to them. If you lose your wallet address or something like that, it does not transfer. It is tied to that wallet. So whatever wallet you're doing business with Pulse on, keep it safe. Get a fresh wallet address, whatever you want to do, get a fresh phone, whatever safety things you want to do them so that it's safe. But that's how the referrals work. Your keys to log in is your wallet, is connecting your wallet, and your keys for your business card for referral is your wallet address.
Yeah, I think they were asking if it would be possible to generate a link like you go on Pulse, you put in your wallet address as a referral, what have you. If someone clicks a link, your wallet address is automatically plugged in for them. I think that's what they're asking.
Oh, referral links. It's something that we talked about. I'll bring it up again at our meeting. Matt wanted to do those. He wanted to do those manually up front, just to make sure there was no funny business with the initial on-ramping and things like that of onboarding of people onto the platform. So those are actually going to be done manually up front by him. But for the long term, I think there'll be some kind of way to do that. I think the original reason why we didn't do a referral was because this was all DApp based. If I'm right, I could be completely in left field, but
you're right, Chris. It's the reason why is because the way it's set up is it's all Web3. And if when you start talking about links and stuff like that, you add a whole nother element of Web2 and more security issues and stuff like that. So I think that was the initial thought behind why it's structured the way it is now.
There you go. So there may for the long term there may be a long term solution to mainstream that and make that easier for people. I'll bring that up and see what kind of witchcraft Matt can come up with about that. But I know up front he wants to do it manually so that we can make sure that things are set up the way they need to be set up. Let me see, just running down the line here. Funny Donald asked how many more VIP spots are available. There is, I guess you'll need to DM me directly, but there is just pretty much two different options. The majority of them that are left are through Crypto Rejects and those NFTs. So you'll just have to DM me. I'll give you the rundown on what's left. And then let's see, will they log in with their wallet? Yes, you'll log in with your wallet. It'll be just like if you're gonna get on Novation and do a trade or buy some Vault Finance token. You'll have to connect your wallet, use Wallet Connect. That's what'll hook you up. And then Kyle asked, how do I confirm that I have a VIP account? Believe me, if you had one, you'd know it. You'd know it for sure. Nobody accidentally got one. So those VIPs, there's only a couple different ways to get them. You can always DM me and I can tell you how to get them. But if you were in the private sale or pre-sale, that doesn't mean that you have a VIP account. It just means that you'll have your first contract will be 80 days. I believe in one of the links on our updates, the Vault Finance, the Vault Daily updates, I think is a link to those 100 accounts that are elite accounts, which are normal pulse, but they have unlimited renewable contracts. So they're guaranteed renewed contracts. So if you need help finding those things, you can either ask in the main chat or one of our mods can throw it there to you, or you can DM me directly and I'll help you out with that. Will the debit cards be used for both on-ramping and off-ramping long term? They are only a off-ramp. They're not an on-ramp, but we are working we are working at putting an on-ramp solution. Our vision is that in a decentralized manner, you can onboard your fiat directly to Novation, buying BNB or Vault Finance token, do business, whether it's Pulse or using the cross chain or buying Vault Finance token, whatever, you handle your business, you make some money. And then I want to have a few different off-ramping options. One that I'd like to see is in collaboration with Zonymous. I still have conversations with him. He has a platform. I'm letting his platform kind of mature a little bit, but his platform, you can do business with Walmart, Amazon, Walgreens, Target, all sorts of different ones, Applebee's, whatever, and it's all at point of sale type of setup. So that's pretty neat. That's one way to do it. Of course, our debit card is going to be the way to do it. Wink, wink, hint, hint. When those debit cards come out, you're going to want to get one. There's things that we're talking about bolting on to our debit card setup that are going to be potentially very, very awesome. There's a reason why we took some time to make sure that was incorporated. So definitely keep your eye out for having one of those. And then let's see, everything else looks pretty good. Any other questions from the crowd? Questions, comments, concerns?
Are we gonna have a Cinco de Mayo party for Pulse with tacos?
Why not? Tacos and margaritas. You're gonna send us some tacos? That taco stand on the street was fire. I still can't believe they had it on the street.
I got you, Chris. Anytime. You know this.
Well, you gotta come over to my side. We can feed you some barbecue, show you how we do some tacos over here.
I am definitely taking a flight out to Dallas or Texas, I should say. I'm not too sure where exactly you are in Texas, but I'm going.
There you go. We're in Dallas. We're in D-Town.
I've got a question about the debit card, actually. What security features will be in place to help protect our investment in our cards, from data thieves, identity thieves, hackers, that kind of stuff?
That's a good question. Specifically security features. Mason, you have anything off the top of your head, Mason, or I think Lee had to jump off, but Mason, do you have any answer to that, or did they stump us?
They might have stumped us with regards to the to the KYC version, I'll have to dig into the actual security aspects of it. You got to remember this is a Visa MasterCard type deal that is run through an actual bank. So I'm sure there are security measures in place on the KYC version. Your non KYC version, it's non KYC. So I don't believe there's going to be a lot of security options. So basically, if you if you get hacked, if you're doing stuff you shouldn't do on your phone, and get somebody that is able to pull your information, then you're kind of screwed. So I would be ultra careful, obviously, with the non KYC digital card. But I mean, it's just like anything else that you do in crypto or real life. I mean, if you mess around on sites, you connect to stuff you shouldn't connect to, you're going to get burned down the road. But I will absolutely dive into the security measures for the KYC version, and I'll get back to you. Funny Donald wanted some information with regards to fees and stuff like that. So I'll put together a message with all that information for you folks.
Sounds amazing. I'm definitely shooting for the KYC version because that's going to be the more secure version, and that's the one I'm going to want anyway. But yeah, definitely a concern. I mean, especially since Chris touched at the beginning about SEC and all them. I'm sure they're going to try to use security or lack thereof as an excuse to push their weight around and make complaints. But if it could be shown that, hey, security has been at the very forefront, we've had these discussions, this discussion, we've done this, that, and the other, they don't have a leg to stand on, and that's kind of the goal I'm hoping to achieve in crypto by bringing these kinds of questions up.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm only going to give you partial credit for stumping us, though. So you only get a partial credit on that one, but that's a good question. We didn't have that one on the tip of our tongue, so Mason will put that together so everybody has kind of a little breakdown on that. Any other questions, comments, concerns we can take care of? And also, if by any chance, if one of you guys, Mason or Mods, can pull up the Pulse Elite list, just drop the little hyperlink that shows up there. That way, a couple guys, Kyle and a couple others, can just kind of confirm that if they're on the Pulse Elite.
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. I actually need to go through the list because there are going to be some people that are not going to be on that list this time around.
Are we firing people from the list?
Yeah, man, that's due to the refunds. So it was clear, obviously leave your 4% on if you wanted to, if you want to keep your Pulse Elite spot. So there were a couple people that wanted full refunds. So there will be a couple people off. So which might bring some opportunity for some new people.
I'll tell you what, that's going to be here in 6 months. That's going to be a kick yourself in the rear end. Ouch.
It sure is. And I tried to confirm with everybody that DM'd me. I said, did you read it properly? Is that exactly what you want? So anyway, they were forewarned.
Yeah. Raise your right hand and swear, follow this statement. Do you agree?
Right.
All right. Other than that, any other questions, guys?
Since you mentioned Pulse Elite spots becoming available, will there be fun little tournaments or like poker games or find the difference competitions available for people to participate in, or will it be some kind of first come first serve payment system thing?
Well, VIP, there's not any set for that, but if there's extra elite spots, which Mason kind of indicated, there might be a couple. Let us get together how many that looks like, and then we'll come up with some way to be able to work that back into the ecosystem. That way they don't just disappear out of nowhere. We'll find a fun way to, in an engaging way for people to get involved.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, someone asked how Franklin's doing. Franklin's doing pretty well. I actually went to a flea market today, and I saw some of Franklin's cousins there. They were selling like I don't know. These pigeons look crazy. It was like black and white with blue eyes, and it was huge. It was almost the size of a chicken. It was the biggest pigeon I've ever seen, but it was indeed a pigeon. But I'm sure Franklin would be scared of it. But Franklin's doing good. If you guys don't already know, that Kickstarter is still out right now. You can get, just through your donation, you can get a digital version, a hard copy version. It looks like there's little extra goodies that come with, the more you donate to the publishing of it. Some are even going to be signed by our, by the ones in our community, as well as Franklin walking across, a page as his signature. Throw my John Hancock on there too. So, but it's a great thing, and I know a significant percentage of that that they're raising, or that comes from that, is going towards bird rescue too. So, it's just a neat little element to that. And other than that, Franklin's doing really well. He was acting like roadkill the other day. I was gonna take a picture. He took a bath and then he lays on the floor like he got hit by a car. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a bird lay out like if it was, I don't know, like if it was hit. It's a random type of thing. But anyways, back to the point here. Does anyone else have any other questions, comments, concerns, anything we can answer for you guys? We'll be here till 9:00 if you guys keep coming up with questions. We want to
I
make sure
believe.
everybody's satisfied.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Casey Ripley asks, is everything with the debit card done or just waiting on Pulse, or are there still hoops you're jumping through?
To get an exact status from the last one we did last week with Matt, I'll need to get updated tomorrow or the next day of exactly where he's at with that. But our goal is that when Pulse releases, all three of those are going to be available. That's the goal. And I think we should be able to do that. So it's just a matter of getting that answer for you. We're going to have our meeting tomorrow or Tuesday, and I'll get a sense of exactly when we're going to refresh and bring out the cross chain, that whole segment, as well as the debit card availability. But I wouldn't expect the debit card to be to where you can sign up for it until right when we release Pulse 2. But we'll get you more definitive answers on exactly when we're going to make it available for people to start getting.
I just want to throw a reminder to everybody out there. I keep getting attacked every time I'm in chat. Someone DMs me and says, "Hey, if you're interested in investing, blah 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 blah." Just be careful, people. Just be very careful. That's all I'm saying. Especially with my emails. Supposedly my MetaMask is broken. And at the same time, like, I think of Pulse as the turtle and the hare race. We might be slow, but the turtle won the race at the end of the day. It's a marathon. It's not a race. We're gonna get there, guys.
Yeah, it's definitely. I know everybody's ready for it to come out, and I know we've had a lot of hurdles we had to get through. But we're past those. We're pretty much just finishing up, tidying up, so that we can have this thing launched. It's going to be essentially a finished product up front. And with it being a financial piece like that, it's not something we want to have to revisit, stop, go do maintenance work on, and all this type stuff, and fix things, and while you guys sit on the sidelines and just wait. So we want it to. We know it's going to take off right off the bat. We just want to make sure that everything is ready for that. And there's so many moving parts. I mean, it's just a lot, and so it's the easiest way to say it. It's just a lot. So believe me, if we're trying your patience, it will be well worth it. Just know that, you know, we're not sitting there twiddling our thumbs. It's things that we are ensuring are on point, because once you guys use it, we know that you will keep using it. So I mean, I've told my family they're going to put money on there. People, you know, everybody has somebody that they want to be a part of it, that they want to see get financial freedom, that they want to see make a little bit of something extra so that they can come up a little bit. All of us want to see that, not just for ourselves and our family, but our friends and our extended family and people we know too. So there's a lot riding on that. I get a lot of DMs on a daily basis, people saying that, you know, this is going to change my life, this is going to be big. And so, you know, I want to make sure that I hold up my end of the bargain, and that, you know, our whole core team and Volt Finance does, and that everything is on point, because I truly believe it is going to change this space. It's going to change definitely people's lives, and it needs to be exactly everything we need it to be right up front, and no hiccups. So you know, there's just a lot of work that goes into that. So, but it's coming very soon. So just hang in there.
Hey, Chris, I got a tough question for you, real quick. In all honesty, which picture of which dog did you like the most? I know this is probably going to stump you, but which dog picture have you liked the most in chat?
Oh man, you can't put that one on me. There's man, I don't know. I saw one, but I didn't know whose dog it was. It was a beagle, I think.
Chris,
It's a, it's a,
just tell him you can't answer that because you're a cat person.
yeah, oh geez. Well, unfortunately for those of you that are cat people, I am not actually really a cat person. I'm a dog person. It takes a really certain kind of person to really be a cat person. So I am into shallow, I guess the dog's you know, shallow, undeniable love. I don't want to have to fight for the love with a cat and deal with the moodiness. It's too much. It's just too much of a character for me. But Franklin's kind of that anyways. He's a character too. So I guess it's either way. But I am more of a dog person. But I think somebody had a beagle, and I had a beagle. So I'm a little partial of them. They're completely guided by their stomachs. Their nose is crazy good, and they are always hungry, howling, always a good time like that. So
I believe someone has another question on the chat. And Mike asks, is there a KYC and non-KYC version of the physical card, or is non-KYC just virtual?
I believe the non KYC is virtual, and the KYC one is a physical card. But I could be wrong. But the virtual card, you can always have I believe you can always have a physical card made of a virtual card, but you can have multiples and stuff. So I mean, I think the non KYC one is probably going to stay more of a virtual use one, and the KYC one is a physical card. But the KYC, just because you KYC, you're not KYC into the United States. I believe the KYC is to to a country and a bank that doesn't have to give the United States anything. It goes around having to do business with the United States if you don't want to. Yeah, and Mike's absolutely right too. The virtual card, you can add it to your Google, your Google Wallet, your Apple Wallet, all of that as well too.
The main thing about these cards is the non KYC card is a great option that a lot of people are going to love, and like Mike said, it's great because you can add it to Apple Pay and all that stuff. You are going to get smaller limits on your non KYC card, but when you move to that KYC card, you're going to be able to up your limits, which is how much you can have on there, how much you can withdraw and stuff like that. So there are going to be some people that are going to love the KYC version, but a lot of people, which is why we're focused on the non KYC digital card right now. A lot of people just want to be able to off ramp money without a KYC because obviously this is DeFi. So again, I'll put all this information together because we've gotten a lot of questions with regards to the debit card. So I'll put together something where everybody can see all the stuff on both cards, both versions, the prepaid and the physical card.
All right. And since we're still talking about cards, Chris, you mentioned about the KYC being in a bank and a country or some such that has nothing to do with the United States, if I heard correctly. Would you care to elaborate on a little bit, if that would be possible?
I don't want to give the wrong country. Do you know the exact one, Mason? Or is that? I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to keep a piece of that behind their up their sleeve. But
yeah, I don't believe we're going to give specifics on that right now. I can do a little more digging into that. But before we speak on that, I'd like to huddle up with some people on that.
All right, that's fair enough.
Also asks, will physical cards be able to withdraw from ATMs?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a limit. And that's part of what I was saying I'll put together for everybody so you can see what the limits are daily and stuff like that. But you have a version of a Visa or a MasterCard. So I mean, basically these cards, whether it's digital or whether it's a physical card, whether it's KYC or whether it's a non-KYC version, the cards are going to spend just like any other card that you have in your wallet. The reason why it's Visa and MasterCard is because Visa and MasterCard is pretty much accepted anywhere. So if you're, if you're, a lot of people are like, well, it's not a physical card on the prepaid non KYC, but I mean, pretty much anybody now is accepting like Apple Pay and Samsung Pay and Google Pay and stuff like that. So it's really not that difficult to use a digital card these days. But again, if you don't want that, there will be a physical card option for you down the road, and you will be able to use the physical card. And I guess that would be the biggest difference between the physical and the non-physical is obviously non-physical. You can't withdraw at a bank. As far as I know, I don't believe there's any sort of bank these days that you can withdraw from a non-physical card.
Speaking of non-physical cards, if something were to happen, like say I use a non-physical card to back on Kickstarter, but a project, for example, decides to be dishonest, or the project leader does something dishonest with the information, or for whatever reason the breach occurs, can unspent funds be recovered or frozen and then transferred to another digital card?
I mean, if you're talking about a non KYC version, I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's no way that they can trace it to you. So if you're talking about just getting a refund back to the card, I guess there's a possibility. I'm not 100% sure on that. That's something I would have to ask our partner.
What I mean is when you go to use the virtual card online or something, because I mean, in any transaction, you have to have billing information inevitably, and they're not just gonna let you. I mean, Google Pay might let you do, but even then, like if I use the virtual card, for instance, and something should happen to it, would I be able to close out that virtual card and open a new one?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I don't believe there would be an issue with. I know you can just obviously open up another one, but what I don't know is what the transfer process looks like, transferring balances from one card to another. So I'm not 100% sure on that.
That opens another can of questions. If you max out your card on, like, say, the KYC version, or vice versa, would you be able to charge from one card to the other? That actually opens a can of worms. I'm wondering about that now.
Charge from one card to another.
Say, okay, I maxed out my one KYC, and then it's like, okay, I like putting money on there, but let's say I have a non KYC version. Like, say I want to have a quarantine, use the virtual as a quarantine card, if you will, something that's disposable. So if something happens, I can just basically erase it, if you will, and not have it compromised. But basically, it's like it's kind of tricky explaining, but basically, you use your one card to charge the other, or vice versa.
I mean, if you had a physical KYC card, and if there is, which is what I was just saying, I'm not sure about the transfer process. If there's a means to transfer funds from the non KYC to the KYC, they're totally different cards. So I mean, if there's a transfer method, then theoretically, yes, you can move your funds from the non KYC over to the KYC card. I would think, but again, I'm not 100% sure on the transfer, and there might not be a transfer because it's a KYC, a non KYC card. So I'm not 100% sure on that, to be honest with you, Arn. It's a good question, but honestly, I don't have the specific answers. So I'll have to go to our partner and dive into the specifics of a lot of these questions that you're asking with regards to transferring and what happens if you need a refund or something like that. So, but we'll definitely get some answers for you.
Yeah, Aaron, how when you get a new credit card in the mail, they send you the card user agreement, and it has all every little detail on there. We're gonna have to send you one of those. We're gonna have to get one and then send you one of those.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to go to the I'm gonna have to go to these guys and be like, hey, we need that agreement with all the fine print and all the details, all the stuff that most people don't read. I need to read that.
That would be handy to have.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get it for you, bud.
Very much.
All right, everyone. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Anything? I think we're. I guess how long have we been in the same way? 2 hours. Okay. Well. All right. So, any other questions, comments, concerns? Anything we can answer regarding Vault Finance, Pulse, anything else we have going on that we can speak on? I think we'll definitely have some more information, I think, for everybody Monday or Tuesday. Whenever we kind of nail down exactly when I can get everybody in the core team on a meeting, and kind of do our little status update between the core team, kind of set our next set of goals, things like that. And we should be able to have some more information for everybody. Okay, guys. All right. Well, that was pretty much it. Well, I think there's one more right there about funds being loaded. I think it's stablecoin, and you'll send that directly to the card. There's a little setup for how to do it. I think there was another question that had to do with Pulse, and if there'll be any tutorial videos, things like that. You guys already know, number one fan. He does a ton of them. We have that whole tutorial educational video section on how to do all sorts of different things. So you better believe we'll have one for Pulse and navigating the Pulse platform. A lot of the ambassadors and influencers, I'm sure they'll do their own takes of those of the platform as well too, and navigating it. So keep a lookout for there too. If you want to hear it narrated in anyone's voice specifically, namely Todd Hart or Jay, any of them you want to have narrated for you.
Funny Donald.
Or Funny Donald, yes. We'll have the presidential one. You never know. So we'll have educational videos for that. We'll have some information here that we'll drop for you on some of the different details and the debit card, as well as probably a tutorial on how to do the funds with the debit card as well too. So all of that is coming. No worries there. It's intuitive to where I feel like nobody should have an issue with it. It's something. I mean, it's easier to figure out than getting a put together thing in the mail that you have to put together. But we'll still have those videos. That way people can follow step by step and feel confident in navigating. And then of course we'll always be here to help as well, the mods and the core team.
And in the meantime too, that video that I've pushed out before, which is like a little teaser video from it's got to be months ago now. I mean, that legit is the Pulse platform. So it's not like we haven't built the platform. So if you want to look at that video, and if there's any questions that anybody has with regards to what button is this, what is this section here talking about, we're happy to walk you all through that so you can kind of get a taste of how it's going to work ahead of time before the tutorial videos and stuff like that come out. We're happy to do that.
I've got one final question. Will the physical debit cards be customizable? Like you can put on your colors and stuff and patterns that you want to put on there. Will it be customizable?
Yeah, there are options to customize the cards and actually, I believe as well, what type of card you want. So like whether it's plastic or whatever. So there are definitely some customization options.
Is there a metal debit card option? Because I would totally go for a metal debit card.
I believe there. I believe. Don't hold me 100% to it. I believe there is. We looked at a lot of different partner opportunities before this one, but I believe there's a metal one. I know we all wanted a metal one, so I'm pretty sure we got that.
There's a metal one, and I already have one in the mail. So we're gonna tinker with it. See, I'll probably flash it for you guys on the chat and stuff when it comes in. That way you guys can kind of see see what that looks like. I wanted to guinea pig and see, make sure everything looked good on there.
How long ago did you order it?
Like 4 days ago.
It's coming from across overseas, so it's floating on a boat somewhere right now.
Well, it's metal, but then it's black, but then they laser etch the writing on there. So I got it black, had them laser etch our Vault Finance V on there, and
Oh, sweet.
and it looks pretty slick. So we'll see when it comes in. I'll definitely put it to the test.
That sounds awesome. Would it be possible to get Iron Man colors for those metal cards? I'm definitely digging Iron Man.
That I'm not too sure. I know they had a lot of different ones, but I just kind of briefly looked at it, and then I went to the custom spot where you could put a logo or something. So since I knew it'd be laser etched, I did black, and then as they laser it, it'll make it silver. All the spots they laser. So,
Which is like, Playboy status when you drop that on a card, or on a table, black with silver etching. Perfect. Beautiful.
man, no kidding. I had for the longest while I've had a American Express Gold card, and they make them now. They have it's like a quasi metal feel to it. It's plastic, I think, encasing like a piece of metal. So it's not metal etched, but I just got invited for the black card, the Centurion card, and I want to get both of them and put them next to each other, and I want to see if our Vault Finance card, see if our debit card can look nicer than that one. So we'll see what happens.
I remember when I was in college, people. I always worked in the restaurant industry through college, and people would come in and I'd close them out at the end of the night, and I worked at a lot of fine dining restaurants, and people would throw out that black card, and I'm always like, man, this guy dropping the status in the check presenter right here. Gotta love the black card.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that the benefits aren't even that great, in my opinion.
For what you pay for it.
Yeah, for what you pay for it, the benefits are not that great. You could probably get another American Express and it have somewhat better benefits. I mean, yeah, there's no limit, but you got to pay it at the end of every month. So it's it's a net 30 account, and but I mean, yeah, it is a status thing, and I mean, you got to be careful where you whip that thing out, because if you pull it out, people are looking at you like upcharge time. So
right.
yeah.
That's great.
You can use that at the taco stands if you want that black card, that American Express.
There we go. It's like, wait a minute, it comes with the cilantro. What do you mean the cilantro is $25? No. Okay, guys, let me check one more time, make sure. I think we got all the questions covered. Okay, well, we'll go ahead.
Wait.
2 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes in. We'll go ahead and cut it here. But as you guys already know, questions, comments, concerns, anything like that comes up, feel free to drop it in the chat, tag us so that we see it. If we're not following every post of the conversation, you can always DM us as well too. If you happen to stump us, like Aaron got a half stump on us today, we'll go back to the drawing board, get the necessary information together, and then we'll post it for you guys. That way you guys have the answers to all your questions, or any questions that develop. We're going to have a team meeting either tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm thinking it's going to be Tuesday. So after Tuesday, we will have, usually we have that we have it around now, or we have been. So we'll see. It'll be Tuesday evening, my time probably. And then after that, we should have some more information for you guys. different things. But hang in there, you know, get your things together, take the opportunity to get some referrals together. I know everybody's waiting for Pulse and excited about it, and you know, it's coming. It's definitely going to be part of a major piece of our flagship for the, you know, this first offering for the company. So it's going to be really good. But other than that, you guys have a good evening. Anything else, Matt, Lee, Mason, Phil, anything else needs to be added? I think it's just you and me on this one right now, Mason. Anything else we need to add?
I can't think of anything, Chris. I think as usual, you did a phenomenal job touching on everything.
All right. Well, appreciate it, guys. You know where we are and how to reach us. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, and y'all have a great evening.
Yeah, take care, folks.